After what felt like a coma-inducing grid setup, we finally managed to get ourselves sorted out in what was round 1 of the inaugural Greenhouse Gas Cup. And if you can ignore the fact my broken rear bumper looks like the saggy lip of an Irish drunk recovering from a stroke, it was nice to brush the dust off the old school muscle cars, and this week's choice was the Phoenix. So after qualifying in 5th position, I survived an early onslaught from the likes of Craig Badass and Gucci Pork, but my efforts were all short-lived, as you'll soon find out. So the rules for qualifying were slightly different from your average endurance race, as grid positions were determined by the place you finished the race in and not by the quickest lap time you got. So this was to ensure consistency was rewarded and each second of qualifying counted. You might have noticed at the start there was quite a large gap between grid positions of players. This was to ensure everyone in the race was given equal opportunity to get into their rhythm and compose themselves, and hopefully avoid the orgy that inevitably breaks out on the opening couple of corners of a contact race. So at this point in the race I was fairly comfortable being behind Oracle and in front of Gucci Pork, but coming up here the telephone booth went flying a bit. I managed to evade that one, but on this corner here I had a slight oversteer approaching this right-hander coming up in what turned out to be a troublesome corner for a lot of players in this event. Oracle butchered the chicane leading onto the overpass, which gave me enough of a speed run to get up into 4th position. Hey, how do you like that? Yeah, what? Coming into the second lap with little love lost or gained, I once again had a massive oversteer on the right-hander, which allowed Gucci Pork to jump on my outside. I tried to give him room on the outside there, but hit the Tonka truck tyre in the process and lost us both a few positions. Now, I got a bit confused during the whole collision and thought that Neurotic was the car I hit and slipped in behind him, so that is a paddling for me, and I definitely should have waited. My bad. I stuck with Neurotic leading into the 3rd lap, but my efforts were hampered by laggy telephone booths and light poles that fell, but it all eventually settled down and I was able to get into my groove. Come on, Neurotic. Let's get neurotic. Show me some stress. A little nerves, come on, just give me something. As the purple skies turned blue, I came across Craig Badass, who must have had an accident on the bridge, putting me back up into 6th position. Over the next couple of laps, Oracle slowly managed to catch up to me, and as I rolled down towards the final straightaway here, I lost traction. I managed to regain control and tried to give him room on the outside, but he went the same way, so I pulled off to the side and let him get the deserved overtake. As dawn breaks, we have a new leader in the race. Things are getting heated. I started to approach Neurotic once again and was completely baffled by what he does here. So he jumps through the trees there, off course and into oncoming traffic. The pit lane's right there, dude. Where you going? I jumped in for my mandatory pit stop and got the limp rear end patched up, and what I did here was a bit of a mystery to me. So as I came out, I saw Craig Badass approaching me, and I had priority leading into this corner, but I hit the brakes and let him go for fear of a collision, and I thought he still needed to pit, but apparently he already had, so probably should have tried to hold him up there, and Gucci Pork would be pulling his hair out after seeing that one. Gyrogue was in all sorts coming into the back end of the race, and as I approached him and held onto him for a lap, I pushed a little too hard and had an accident of pretty unco proportions, and I drive with lube on my steering wheel. Speaking of uncos, oh, for the love of God, don't let Timmy beat me. Oh, there goes Gyrogue. See you, dude. That wraps it up, guys. Thanks for bearing this performance of mine, but I can't complain too much after the start that I had, so I'm happy with how I went overall. Round 1 exceeded all of my expectations in terms of connection and overall racing etiquette by everyone involved. There didn't seem to be any collisions and takeouts apart from myself, and as you can see by my perspective and other people's perspective, there didn't seem to be much issues with lag at all, which was nice for a change. And the overall level of skill in this lobby was exceptional. So The competition consists of 8 weeks of endurance racing with muscles, sports classics, sports and supercars. Each week's vehicle will be decided by a Slack poll where votes will be cast by the event's participants, and next week's race has been decided, and it's going to be the Sterling GT on 1900 fuel circuit. So if you want to join Team Evolution and be a part of the Greenhouse Gas Cup, just message myself or any of the other crew commissioners and we can get that organised. So at this stage we only have one division, but if we can get 20 to 30 players in qualifying, then the main event will be split into 2 divisions, with both divisions points accumulating into the same standings tally. So if you have one bad week in qualifying and get sent back to Division 2, that's fine. If you rock up qualifying next week, you can have a chance of being in Division 1. So this is just to ensure that the lobbies remain small with smooth connections, because if you have a contact lobby with 30 players, I don't care how good your connection is, you're going to get frame rate drop and lag and all of that crud. So at this stage there's a 30 player cap. If you want to be a part of that 30, just come on board, come and have some fun. Alright guys, thanks for watching.